Elias Thorne, a quiet archivist, had a YouTube channel called Paper Trails where he shared forgotten stories from the past. One rainy day, a new collection arrived at the municipal archives. Among the old papers, he found a small, carved wooden box. Inside, there was a thin parchment scroll, warm to the touch and tied with a silver thread. When Elias opened the scroll, a sweet, floral scent filled the air. It was a diary entry from October 27, 1888, written by a young seamstress named Clara. Her diary was full of life, describing markets and fashion. But one line caught Elias's attention: "Today, the bells sang twice. Once for joy, once for sorrow. And still, the whispers grow in the alley behind Mr. Silas's shop." Elias felt a strange feeling. He had named his channel Whispers from the Forgotten Archive, and now it felt oddly real. Clara wrote often about the whispers in the alley, becoming more and more afraid. They sounded like distant talks at first, then clearer, insisting on secrets and wrongs. On November 5, 1888, Clara wrote something truly chilling: "The whispers led me to the abandoned well near the old bakery. A chill wind carries their pleas now. I hear Martha's name, clear as day. But Martha vanished last spring. No one spoke of it after the police closed the case." Elias knew the city's history. The vanishing of Martha was an old cold case from the late 1800s. Martha, a laundress, had disappeared without a trace. The police said she ran away, but many thought something bad had happened. Finding her name in Clara's forgotten diary sent shivers down his spine. He checked old city maps. The bakery and Mr. Silas's shop were long gone, replaced by new buildings. But their locations were marked. The alley Clara mentioned was now a narrow, bricked-up passage between two tall apartment buildings. The old well would be buried deep under the street. For days, Elias read Clara's diary. The whispers became a constant part of her life, begging her to find things and uncover truths. Despite her fear, Clara felt she had to listen. Her last entry, November 10, 1888, was frantic: "They want me to go back to the well. They say the answer is there, buried. But I am afraid. The whispers have a voice now. It calls my name. I will go tonight. If I do not return." The entry ended suddenly, with a smudge of ink. Clara, too, had vanished, her disappearance lost in the city's old records. Elias knew he had to act. He grabbed his camera, microphone, and Clara's wooden box. He went to the bricked-up alley. It was a gloomy place, smelling of dampness. The sky was gray, matching the mood. He set up his camera, explaining the diary to his viewers in a hushed, serious voice. According to Clara's diary, he narrated, "The whispers came from right here, near an old, abandoned well." She believed they were trying to tell her something important, something about a missing person. He paused, listening. All he heard was the distant city noise. He pressed the scroll against the brick wall, just as Clara might have. He closed his eyes, focusing. He didn't believe in ghosts, but he believed that sometimes, the forgotten past tries to make itself known. Then, he heard it. Faint at first, almost hidden by the city sounds, a soft, ghostly murmur. Not clear words, but a feeling of voices, many whispers rising from beneath the ground. It felt like 1,000 secrets trying to break free. He held out his microphone, hoping to record it. The needle barely moved, but Elias felt it deeply. He focused on where the old well would have been on the map. He put his ear to the cold brick. The whispers grew stronger, forming a chilling rhythm, repeating one fragmented but clear word: "Under. Under." Elias's breath caught. "Under what?" he whispered to the wall. The whispers grew more intense, almost frantic. He could almost hear individual voices, faint cries for help, a sense of urgency. He knew the well would be buried, impossible to reach. But under wasn't just about the well. It was about something hidden, something beneath the official records. He remembered a detail from Martha's missing person file, a faded photo of her wearing a special, hand-stitched locket. It was strange because the locket was never found with her other things. Then, a sudden, clear voice cut through the whispers, old and tired, the flower, the locket, in the roots of the old oak. Elias spun around. The bricked-up alley had a small, neglected patch of ground with an old, twisted oak tree, its roots breaking through the pavement. The tree wasn't on any maps from Clara's time, it was much newer. But if the whispers were a kind of leftover energy, maybe they were connected to the physical place itself, changing with new landmarks. He rushed to the oak tree, dropping to his knees. He ran his hands over its exposed roots, feeling the rough bark and the stubborn dirt. His fingers caught on something hard and metallic, half buried in the soil. He dug wildly with his bare hands. And there it was. Not a locket, but a small, tarnished tin box, beautifully engraved with a single, delicate flower. He pulled it out, his heart pounding. It was heavy. He opened it with shaky fingers. Inside, among dried leaves, was Martha's locket, clearly hers, tarnished but recognizable. Next to it was a small, tightly folded piece of paper, too fragile to open right away. The whispers around him seemed to soften, changing from urgent pleas to a gentle sigh, like a collective sigh of relief. He carefully put the locket back in the box and slowly, gently, unfolded the paper. The handwriting was small and faded. It was a confession. Not Martha's. Not Clara's. It was from a man named Thomas, a rival laundress owner. He wrote how he had accidentally killed Martha in an argument over stolen laundry, then panicked and buried her body nearby. He had written the confession in secret and buried it with the locket, overcome with guilt. He had planned to confess later but died in a fire a week later, taking his secret to the grave. The flower on the box now made sense. Thomas had been a keen gardener, known for loving a specific, rare flower. The whispers had led Clara to the well, which was near where Thomas had died, and now they had led Elias to the true place of the secret. Elias leaned back against the rough bark of the oak, the tin box heavy in his hands. The whispers had faded, replaced by the gentle sound of rain starting again. Clara hadn't finished her mission, but she had started a chain of events, guided by the strong echoes of unfairness. And now, over a century later, Elias had completed it. His channel, Paper Trails, was about to become more than just old stories. It was about giving a voice to those who couldn't speak, bringing light to forgotten dark places. He held up his camera, his face dirty but shining with strong purpose. Sometimes, he said to the camera, his voice deeper now, the past isn't just written on paper. Sometimes, it whispers through the very air, waiting for someone to listen. And when you do, you find that the most important truths are often hidden right under your feet. He knew his video would go viral. But more importantly, he knew that Martha's story would finally be told, and Clara's bravery remembered. The forgotten archive had finally given up its deepest secret, not with a dramatic reveal, but through the patient, quiet whispers of those who deserved to be heard.